On September 19th, 2013, 69-year-old retired middle school teacher Amy Linkert and her friend, 63-year-old Joe Blakesley, who was a physician, headed off to the Craters on the Moon Park in Idaho. This park is actually a dormant volcano. It's going to be active again probably in the next 1,000 years, but for now it's this beautiful park that is known for these crazy lava fields that look otherworldly. Another feature of this park are all the lava tubes underground. All the molten lava, when it jets around underneath the surface before shooting out, it carves these natural tunnels underground, and there's 1,100 miles of lava tubes, tunnels, and caves underneath this park. The two women told their families they would be back in Boise, Idaho by the 21st, but when the 21st came and they were not home, their families were suspicious, and for the next 36 hours they just kept trying to call them. On the morning of the 23rd, when no one knew where they were, they reached out to the authorities. The formal search for these two women began on the 24th, so 5 days after they had initially left for this trip, and the searchers quickly found their pickup truck parked in the parking lot of the Craters on the Moon Park. In their truck were their two dogs, who were alive, and in the front seat were their purses and their cell phones. But unfortunately, within 24 hours of finding the truck, they would find Amy's body, and her body was located way off of the main trail. She was in an area that the park superintendent described as incredibly rugged and inaccessible. When the families were notified that Amy had been found and they were still looking for Joe, the detail that the family keyed in on was the idea that these two women left their dogs in the truck. That was something so unbelievably uncharacteristic of either of them. Because of that detail, the families jumped to this has to be foul play. 28 days after Amy was found, Joe's body was discovered as well, and she was lying 1 mile away from where Amy had been found in a similarly inaccessible part of the park. And even more strangely is the area where she was found had been searched extensively by air, with helicopter pilots flying overhead, and by cadaver sniffing dogs that had been in that area, and they had not picked up her scent. A cause of death has not been determined for either of the two women. However, what was released is neither of them appeared to have suffered an incapacitating injury, meaning they weren't struck down where they were. They were traveling and ultimately stopped where they were. Where they ultimately reached seems like an area they would not have been able to get to without assistance, and since they were separated, they weren't able to help each other get where they were. So although authorities have ruled out foul play, this was deemed an accident, it does seem like if there was ever a place to commit an attack, it would be this particular park, because underneath the park is 1,100 miles of lava tubes that it would be pretty straightforward to attack someone and then go underground and not be found. Certainly makes you wonder who or what could be hiding underground in those lava tubes.